Welcome. This morning I'm outside in my garden doing this video for you guys. Normally I'm inside at my desk, but it is such a beautiful day. I thought it would be nice to have a change and outside next to my little spa pool where I love to spend the evenings looking out across the views around Cairns. Hopefully that's not too noisy down there. We've got some road traffic, but that's the price you pay for working from home. You have no control over the sounds outside of your house. So this little video this morning, I thought I'd talk a little bit about why I love being an audio transcriber and working from my home office and what it has meant to me at different times in my life. So the reason why I originally decided I wanted to work from home, at the time I made that decision, it was the early 2000s and I was working full-time as a legal secretary, commuting into the city every day. I had a small daughter and I started to feel more and more that having to work full-time, I didn't have the flexibility that I wanted to be more present with my daughter. And so setting up my home office was the perfect solution for me. It meant that I was able to do more school activities with my daughter. I could participate in the school fete. I could pick her up from school and drop her off from school and just be more present in her life, and it was perfect for me. So fast forward to now, and my daughter is 24 and she lives in another city. She lives down in Adelaide in South Australia, while I live in Cairns up in far north Queensland. And so of course, being 24 and a young adult, she has far less need for my time and attention. And I actually did wonder if now would be a good time for me to return to my legal secretarial job or a position similar to that, working 5 days a week, 9 till 5, back in the city. But the more I thought about going back into that situation, the more unsettled I started to feel. I found when I was a legal secretary, a lot of the dynamics and office politics were difficult for me. I didn't understand the need for some of what went on. So with my daughter needing me less, I knew I needed to be doing some other things. You can't just be working from home. You'll never see the light of day if you don't create some activities outside of your home office and your work from home life. And what came up for me was a chance to volunteer with the Cairns Turtle Rehabilitation Centre. And what an amazing decision that has been for me to take on that volunteer role. And I'll include some footage here. I actually did my volunteer job this morning out at James Cook University, where I prepared breakfast for 7 sea turtles. So that involved chopping up a lot of squid, let me be honest. I will be smelling like squid for most of the day, which my Chihuahua Quinn finds absolutely fascinating, and my partner Chris less so, but it's totally worth smelling like squid for a day, the time I get to spend with the turtles. And then another thing about working as an audio transcriber is that it is in and of itself its own journey. And what I mean by that is that the opportunities that have come to me through my audio transcription work have taken me down many different paths. And one of the most interesting paths I'm currently pursuing at the moment is one of the clients that I transcribe for is a historian and archivist and an author. So she writes the history of people's families and company histories as well. The most recent job that we did was for an engineering firm here in Australia, a marine engineer firm that just celebrated 150 years of continuous operation in Australia under the control of the same family. So doing that history book with Stella was absolutely amazing for me. At this point in my relationship with Stella, where I started off transcribing her research interviews, and then as our collegial relationship developed into a friendship, she approached me and asked me to help her more and more with the books. I now help her doing research and creating timelines that collate all of the information that we gather into a succinct document that she's able to work through. And in the last book, was towards the end of that project, Stella approached me and asked if I would be willing to do the index for this book. Now, I have never ever done indexing before, but I appreciate a good index. So that's what I did for this book. I created its index. So this was a new skill and something I had to find something about. Sure, I know how to use an index, but I've never written an index before. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't smooth sailing. I had about 3 false starts where I got to a certain point in the index and I realized it was not on target, that I wasn't frameworking the index in a way that would do the book justice, and I had to start from scratch again, but it was well worth it. The index that I finished for that book on time to meet the deadline, ready to go into the back of the book and ready for the print schedule, I am so proud of, and I loved the work. And so one of the things I'm doing at the moment is I'm studying through UC Berkeley, a indexing course, so I can actually make sure that I understand and I learn how to index correctly, understand all the different ways indexing is done around the world between the UK and Australia and Canada and the US, what guidelines I should be following and what's industry standard, because I want to pursue that. I would really love to be able to pick up some more indexing work. So that's just an example of where your transcription, audio transcription work can take you. It doesn't mean I'll stop transcribing audio files, because I love it. I love the exposure to the different topics that I get, and it's just my bread and butter. But to create these, as Claire likes to say, to add some strings to my bow, it's something I want to do. I want to be able to offer more services and make sure I've got a fuller skill set. It would also be amazing if I could get a few more author clients and do more editing and that sort of work. And with that goal in mind, I am actually looking into a few different editing courses, grammar courses and writing courses that will really hone those skills for me. So, you know, life is learning, lifelong learning, and you never need to stop. And so just before I finish up this video, I did get a question through on the Instagram post that I put up the other day. One of the reels I posted showing me using my Kinesis keyboard and typing like crazy. And one of the questions I got was, how fast do I type? So that's a really good question. At this point in time, after being an audio transcriber for, we're getting close to 20 years now, I don't think in terms of words per minute. I actually think in terms of how long will it take me to transcribe 60 minutes of audio. So when I finish this video, I'll probably go inside and I'll find a speed test and I'll see how many words per minute I do. I do choke a lot when I have to do those sorts of tests, but I'll give it a go. But rather than words per minute, I can tell you my typing speed at the moment, when I'm feeling fresh in the morning and the audio is pretty decent and it's just 2 speakers, I can transcribe an hour of audio in about 2.5 hours. So if you're doing the course at all, or you're thinking about doing the course, we do talk more about figuring out what your typing ratio is. So what does that put me? My typing ratio is 1 to 2.5, which means 1 minute of audio takes me approximately 2.5 minutes to transcribe. Yeah. Now, if you guys do have any other questions, please feel free to send them through to us on the Instagram account. You're probably wondering why you're seeing so much of me on Instagram and not very much of Claire. TranscribeRight is Claire and Sonya. It's our collaboration, our little baby that we created together. And marketing is all-consuming, let's just be honest. So understanding that we needed to spread the workload out, I'm mostly running the Instagram account, and if you want to see more of Claire's content as well as my content, because we collaborate and share stuff back and forth between each other, because TranscribeRight is us, but you'll see probably more of Claire's content if you go and follow us on Twitter. And if you go and click in the link in our bio here on Instagram or Twitter, you'll see that you're going to go to a link page where you can go and download our free ebook. There's a lot of other free stuff in with the ebook, so get in there and explore all that. You'll get to learn more about my story, you'll learn more about Claire's story, and you'll get to read a lot of different stories from people who found their way into audio transcription. And then there's just so much more in there. Go and have a look. We've got primer lessons, you've got access to the beginner's lesson 1. You'll really get a good feel for the course and all the information that you'll need to understand what it takes to be an audio transcriber, what you need to get started, and it doesn't need a lot. You don't even need to have a spare room in the house. You just need a spare corner, somewhere that you can set up a little office corner desk, and that you'll have some peace and quiet at some point during the day to do your audio transcription work. It's a flexible job. You don't have to be working during the day. You can work at night if that suits you better. that's totally enough of my jibber jabber. Let me get off your screens. It's a hot day here in Cairns. I want to go inside, I want to get a cold glass of water, and it's time for me to head into my office and actually get some work done. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.